So Ashley, the market is crashing. At least that's what the media is saying. So we're going to talk about the 5 reasons why the real estate market's not crashing. Ashley, tell me reason number 1 why the market is not crashing and will not crash.
So yeah, I mean, the biggest reason is, or one of the biggest reasons I should say, is we have an inventory crisis. We have 500,000 homes. That's new digs. That's pending. That's listings nationwide. I mean, that's
so crazy.
Yes. I mean, there's just an inventory crisis. We don't have a surplus of homes. So is what we had the last time we had a crash. So that's one of the biggest reasons is there's not a lot of inventory. So therefore we can't be in this surplus mindset, which will typically can cause a crash.
Wow. That is crazy. Yeah. So in 2006, 2007, 2008, we saw the market crash, right? Everybody should watch The Big Short. It's great. It's a very good movie, Hollywoodized, books better. But back then, in 2007, we actually had the most completions that had ever been completed in history. So what do completions mean? Completions actually are like digs, starts in the ground, meaning builders are just throwing up houses left and right. We had so many completions. But the interesting thing was, I don't think anybody was paying a close attention to basic economics, which in economics, we know population growth is a big indicator on how things perform. And the population growth actually in 2006, 2007, actually dramatically increased in terms of household formation. So what does formation mean? It means age of individuals coming of age, like people coming of age to enter the workforce. Mm-hmm. And so this huge population growth slowed way down. And the reason why is 30 years prior, Roe versus Wade was put into effect. Population slowed way down. Builders weren't paying attention. We had all of this inventory, a surplus of inventory hit the market. And it actually ended up being 4 million houses available in the market in 2007.
So nowhere near what's happening right now.
500,000, 4 million, big difference nationally. Huge variance in terms of numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's the third contributor right now?
Yeah, really, I think the third contributor goes towards Oprah. Okay, so bear with me. I love me some Oprah, but back pre-2000, The Big Short, pre-2007, 2008, mortgage-backed securities, the rule setters, the lenders, who they follow, but lenders follow the mortgage-backed securities, the rule setters, they were of Oprah of mortgages. They were like, Ashley, you get a loan and you get a loan, and Stacey, you get a loan, everybody gets a loan, get a loan. You had bankruptcy last week, you get a loan, or Ashley, you've got great credit, here's your loan. It was just like, everybody gets a loan, right? There was no, confirmation of repayment of debt.
Yep.
There is a process, right? Confirmation of debt right now there's a process that's involved. I don't say it's difficult to get a mortgage, but there is a process. You have to prove that you can repay your debt, as you always should have. However, pre-recession, we were Oprah of mortgages. Now, the other factor at play right now is debt is being repaid. Why? Because a lot of people refinance into historically low interest rates that we saw in 2020 and 2020 and 21. So people are paying their mortgages. There's not default happening. There's not a high foreclosure rate. There's not a high short sale rate. And the mortgage-backed securities, they're not Oprah of mortgages. That's the third reason.
Nice. And what is our fourth reason?
Well, really our fourth reason is another geeky economic thing that I love, which is population. So we're going back to population, but it's really generational population. So the boomers were my parents. They were the largest generation of individuals ever in terms of a population, a segment in time. But not every boomer went into the workforce, right? Sometimes one person stayed at home. The millennials and post-millennials actually are the largest generation of individuals entering the workforce ever. They are massive. There are so many of them, and they're coming fast and furious. They're coming of age. They're entering the workforce, and then just really there is nowhere for them to go. You know, you think about commercial residential housing, builders, apartment builders. You know, big places. They're 2 years behind because of the pandemic, but the people didn't stop advancing, right? And so these individuals are going to put lots of pressure on all housing in the United States. And like I said before, there's no more dirt being put on this earth. So dirt is very, very valuable.
Especially in San Diego, because I mean, we have to the west, we have the ocean. So really, where are you going to go? That's why we have such a big housing shortage right now.
Right. We have a huge housing shortage in San Diego. It's crazy.
Yep. And honestly, the fifth reason too is, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, but in 2022, the end of 2022, people had 58% equity in their homes, which is crazy. You know what I mean? So like back when we were having the last housing crisis and housing crash, is people were going upside down. They didn't have equity in their home. They were upside down on these mortgages. Like you said, we don't have as many foreclosures and short sales and things that we saw happening. And that was all just because people didn't have that equity in their home, and because they didn't qualify for the home. They shouldn't have been in the home to begin with. So we're kind of, like you said, between all 5 things we touched on, none of the things that happened in 2008 are happening today. And that really shows why we're not going into another housing crash, because there's so many factual number-based indicators that show that that's just not the trajectory we're going on.
Yeah. Economics is super sexy, as I always say. I love economics. It's awesome. Economics gives us good data, right? To make smart decisions for ourselves as consumers. And then for you, Ashley, and for myself to make good advisement for our clients. Now, I love the 58%. Well, I think it's like 58 or they're over 50% equity that people are sitting on. But Ashley, the real question is, are people loan locked? Are they locked into these lower loans? Are they locked into their position, but they're miserable in their houses? You know this, you hear this all the time. They bought their first home, but their family has grown and you've got 4 people in a bedroom and they're just like, what do I do? We're going to talk about that on our next segment. We're going to talk about how do you get out of that loan locked house and move into the dream house that you really want.